Cross-contamination is the transfer and spread of pathogens to food by your hands, surfaces, utensils, or equipment during preparation, production storage, and displaying of produce. Remembering that these pathogens of concern are very small and in fact microscopic limits the reliance of using your eyes to alert you to a potential cross-contamination problem. Examples of cross-contamination include when pathogens from manure or your hands transfer to the surface of produce, or when pathogens in the soil enter into damaged fruits or vegetables. Since cross-contamination can occur in many locations throughout produce handling areas, it is important to adopt the most acceptable food protection and sanitation practices as possible. Cross-contamination is defined as one of the leading causes of foodborne illnesses. Since this issue deals with the potential transfer of pathogens throughout the entire farm, all workers need to understand and receive training in the areas of proper cleaning, sanitizing, and hand-washing procedures in order to limit cross-contamination issues. Understanding the potential sources and probable movements of these pathogens from field to consumer should be at the center of any training. Due to the origins of the foodborne illness pathogens, areas of importance relate to water, manure, wildlife management, and worker hygiene. Maintaining produce and produce handling areas in as clean and sanitary of conditions as possible decreases the chance of pathogens spreading. Management should tailor food safety measures to their individual operations, have adequate facilities to support these measures, and have workers actively use them to adequately prevent cross-contamination. Employees, equipment, surfaces, and produce represent possibilities for cross-contamination to happen on your farm. A multiple barrier approach, much like integrating your food safety practices, is necessary to prevent cross-contamination. Workers and visitors should be trained and feel confident in telling supervisors if they notice other workers or situations that could contaminate the produce. There are numerous opportunities for cross-contamination to occur in the field and packing house. It's as easy as when a dirty surface, say your hands, the production belt, or the packing container, comes in contact with fresh produce. Any activity that would encourage the spread of mucus, saliva, blood, or feces should be considered an opportunity to practice your good hygiene practices. Examples of these contaminating activities include eating or spitting, sneezing, talking on your cell phone, using the bathroom, wearing dirty clothes, or petting animals. Equipment and surfaces that are used to support harvesting, packing, and transport of produce all need to be considered as potential areas for cross-contamination to occur. Leaving debris or plant material on these surfaces is not a recommended practice. Some simple steps that you as workers can take to prevent cross-contamination in the field, farm, and packing house include not eating or drinking, smoking or chewing tobacco or gum, or spitting in work areas. Designated break areas as well as a designated trash can separated away from production areas should be utilized to keep these areas clean and free from debris. Anyone working with produce should not pet or touch animals or their waste without washing their hands afterwards. All equipment, including harvest containers and dump tanks, should be cleaned and sanitized on a regular basis. As employees, you should feel comfortable and encouraged to tell management if you are feeling sick, have cuts, boils, or lesions. Once produce is contaminated, let's say from dropping the produce on the floor or having blood from your hand drop on the produce or produce surface, you should notify your supervisor immediately to allow for proper disposal and cleanup. In summary, in order to prevent cross-contamination, it is extremely important to clean and sanitize all equipment and food contact surfaces, as well as follow good hygiene practices. All workers and management have a responsibility to follow the tailored food safety practices for their respective roles within fresh produce facilities. It is important for management to have policies in place that address the integration of preventative measures. It is equally important for workers to follow and alert management to any risk which could lead to cross-contamination, and so that necessary measures to prevent any future or additional risks can be taken.